cross the finish line with her and be able to witness the look of joy on her face as she realized her accomplishment.
Hello, hey, hi everybody, social media family, being a whatsoever racist, and likewise as well, all the same, or whatever I've said. Be speaking correct, proper standard English grammar of the American dialect of some or such quality and quantities and not, or be speaking that of the King's Inns of street slang for that matter, and as I think of it with that in my mind's attention. We try to backtrack here with reason on purpose of being, once I can go on forward to continue from where and when that of my person had last left off, so I can finish up as in complete a form of freeze and cry lines out in the same sense. And likewise, any visitors in that same line of sense of word, then of whom could possibly have paid a visit to that being of my present social media broadcast or video as we have it here. You know. Though not necessarily being a whatsoever, whatever walks of life, factions of society, or lifestyle preferences. Being because my person, I don't know about anybody else, but I myself personally cannot hang out with some of anybody and everybody. Been there, done that, and don't want to do it again anytime too soon enough again. And people in damn hell want ice water. People's places and things you gotta recognize and realize. Hanging out with some or such of anybody and everybody can or could possibly result in developments of severe or serious consequences. And I can't do that anymore myself, especially with me being a much older person now. Yeah, I feel like it too. And especially with what that being on my person had become subject to experiencing most recently with a certain physical malady, ailment, or whatever I would say. And as the title to this particular present social media broadcast or video, you know, is given a description or what this particular one is about as the present given on time, as well as the footnotes for some such here of the present social media broadcast video, as I suspect that this one particular proverbial neighbor from damn hell, excuse my language, pardon my French, dickhead prick of a male character, could partly be responsible for the way I'm feeling as of the present given moment in time. You know, of an issue that has yet to be resolved. One that is regarding making reference to that being in my general physical and or mental health. You know. And I say to possibly be much more specific or to go into the details thereof, but not too much. For evidential, obvious reason or purposes for that being of my person having said so, being of which to prove to have become or be a no-brainer as self-explanatory. Then because I don't want to let out too much information regarding or make a reference to me, myself being that my person. Then because not anybody and everybody that could pay a visit to a social media broadcast or video for a channel or some or such an account holder would be considered as a friend, but more likely, more often than not, that being of some kind, sort, or type of a foe or enemy. And that's why the likes of their kind otherwise are called internet trolls. And as I suspect that a certain proverbial name from hell of the likes among dime a dozen public nuisances of problem they could possibly be moonlighting as a character among the likes otherwise all the same as a crank caller and or stalker, you know. Not to mention some and such other. But then how are you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone is doing at least okay, if not better yet to be said, to be feeling all right. Or if not best of all to be said, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become a beast fest. You and yours, your family and friends, hopefully me and man likewise as well, all the same. Or regardless, I would hope that you all, your person among yourselves, my social media family, followers and subscribers and visitors to my own personal channel, chat room and our comment section will be feeling much better than what that my person am feeling like as of the present given on time. And with my feeling pain of a physical nature, mainly or mostly in my arm and in my leg, and I'm wondering if this one neighbor from hell could possibly have something to do with it. Whereas more often than not, I suspect that he has not just quite, but very much or a lot to do with the way I'm feeling as of the present given moment in time. Especially if he himself has come off like, or in due regard in reference to how he himself could have possibly come off like some kind, sort, or type of, you know, uh, or what would be commonly called and are commonly known as an unwelcome stranger or uninvited guest for premises or properties of another person's place of residence, as in an intruder or a home invader, and being of whom other likes as he himself, I suspect, is that could have possibly done something to me in a physical way, caused me the pain that I'm experiencing, that I've become subjected to in general. Like say, or how you say, without my knowledge as well as without my permission or consent, and therefore I myself may have to pay another visit to a local vicinity area neighborhood community medical establishment of a hospital, and then do follow up at a clinic likewise once again, you know unless you know so stated otherwise, you know or unless God has something to say about it, not just as much but that much more. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to, in the meantime, get much stronger, pain relievers of aspirin, etc. Then I suspect that, you know, a doctor or nurse could possibly have something to do with the way that my person had become subject to experiencing this here pain of a physical nature for the areas of my physical body being which I mentioned as well as, or even so rather, if not as much as to, well, hopefully not as well as the proverbial, and this one proverbial neighbor from hell, dickhead prick of a really, stupid and sick son of a bitch, not to mention creepy ass bastard. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Especially when you don't hear any electronic device or communications of a television or radio within the atmosphere for his premise property of his own place of residence of an apartment, you know, whereas he continues to violate his apartment rental lease as well as disrespect my rights and privileges as his fellow neighbor of another resident or tenant, with the way he be coming off as bam bam rubbles, making different sorts of types of extreme and excessive noises upon a daily and nightly basis. And whereas I be wondering if he be creeping just as much, or rather, if he himself, worse yet, be creeping that much more. No, I don't hear a television or radio in his apartment from nothing in the world. But I can hear him when he goes about with his bam bam rubbles routine. This one stupid and sick, crazy MF, of a neighbor from hell, faggoty or closet faggot, male character, acting out, misbehaving like a mad dog with rabies or something. You know what I'm saying? Talk about the old school gangster, a mad dog, cold. You know? Yeah. It takes all kinds to make a world, as they say. You know. Anyway, though, for the last few days, that been my person have have become subject to experiencing so much pain in certain parts or areas of my physical body. And like where I'm wondering what's going on. I mean, the pain is just, I mean, it can be described in one sense, but then in another regard, it is beyond description. I'm saying, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's 10 plus. I'm like, what in the damn hell? I mean, the physical pain that I had become subject to experiencing would be compared on to or be similar to a toothache pain, physical pain of my physical body otherwise. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh man. I was like, oh my God, help me here. Yeah. And whereas it has had me postpone quite a few activities most recently. Well, I know I wasn't going to pay a visit to this one soup kitchen otherwise than the one I'm thinking about going to. That, you know, whole shop as well as it's set up for a service for the general public later on for the night. The only one I know of, quite a couple few that I know about that serves at night compared to how majority of most I know that mainly or mostly served during the daylight hours. But I wasn't about to go to this one particular one otherwise before then that serves during the daytime. Because there's this one, wilderness letter fulfilling bonehead, butthead ass, dead, brainless, effing idiot of a male character. You know, 2-bit street punk, of an older guy, fellow dude that should know better. I said they should know better than coming off like one of these young bloods, male youngsters, like say, or how you say, whereas he be himself challenging my authority, you know, whereas he used to then come off acting like that or misbehaving, but then most recently, like this make about the second or third time in a row, like okay, like say for example, I'm give you one example of a case scenario of an incident, you know. Whereas after we got through eating at this one soup kitchen that serves during the daylight hour or in the daytime, being a which I have been, forsaking attendance there lately, being because of him as a result of developments of this one airhead of another black male. Remind me of a neighbor from damn hell, male character. But anyway, whereas we had just got through eating at this one soup kitchen that served during the daytime or daylight hours, and we were sitting on a curb with a bunch of other guys, fellas and dudes, waiting for the bus at a bus stop, right? And all of a sudden, he gets to mouthing off against me in presence of these other brothers, whereas I thought that he was having a conversation with them because I was still eating some of my lunch, that I had took with me, you know, on to turn my head to the side, and he's addressing his comments against my person. I'm like, what? I'm like, man, what are you talking about, man? You don't know me like that. Why are you coming to me with all this beef? This unfounded, unwarranted, unjustified beef, man. Why is you cussing and swearing like a drunken sailor and attempting to insult my intelligence that much further? And all the while I'm thinking, just now you don't attempt to transform those thoughts, those mental thoughts and verbal words into physical action against my person, we will not have a problem because I would have pulled out something on his ass similar to a stick-a-jig of a knife, let him know where to get off with all that going elsewhere with it. And as a matter of self-defense, seeing how, especially how I'm not feeling too well with pain in my physical body. So, sometime like days or weeks later, a couple few days or weeks later, he's mouthing off again once he encountered my person. I'm like thinking from there, oh, so that's how it is. You're going to make this a habit, huh? I know to steer clear of you to avoid any kind of altercations in any regard because if you get up on me, I'm going to stick something in your jugular vein or your neck, put you out of commission as a matter of self-defense. Come off like a big army black baboon. You know, gorilla ape of a William Slap fulfilling nigga s.o.b. bastard of a character. So I'm like, are you serious? There was one time that I was trying to catch this bus, like later from the first time I encountered that nonsense come from him most recently. I say the second or third time, man. He's on the damn bus already, and so whereas I was about to catch that bus, but then I decided against it. Decided much rather instead that I'm going to catch another bus. He's mouthing off at the entrance or exit way of the bus. Come on here. What's up? What you going to do? And what? I like to tell him, man, shut the fuck up, nigga. Shut your damn ass up. Go get you a shit rag. Wash your damn funky foul ass as well. Put it in your mouth when you having diarrhea of the mouth. Obviously, I'm not feeling too Christian along with my person having employed the uses of or use those alternative cuss words or expletives of profanity, especially when I get to thinking about this one neighbor from damn hell that reminds me so much of this character of a male where he's other likes himself. So he's talking about, yeah, get on the bus, man. Come on. Don't make me chase you. I'm like, what? Man, you chase me, you're going to get something in your neck, man. It's something in that jugular vein in your neck, You want to get to talking crazy, F and BS to me. And acting like you're just as crazy, not to mention stupid and creepy, like this one neighbor from hell, faggot or closet faggot, Woodland slap fulfilling nigga s.o.b. bastard, male character in his own right. So I'm like saying, if this nigga, if I ever encounter him anytime too soon enough again, and if he get up on me, I'm gonna give him something to remember me by, and send him to go meet his maker, the devil, like what this one neighbor from hell can do. Yeah, he's talking all this smack, yada yada yada, woo woo woo, blah blah blah. I'm like saying, man, why is you coming to me like that? I ain't ever done anything to you. You better go find the father or the stepdad that raped or molested you as a little boy. Yeah, all of a sudden this nigga, baboon, nigga really ain't coming out his trick bag for no reason at all against my person. Like I said, I ain't ever did anything to him, for him to be mouthing off all foul. I mean, remember this other wilderness letter fulfilling nigga s.o.b. bastard, other likes of his same kind where at one time or another I was seated, in this seat at the bus stop, right? His black sister showed up at the bus stop all the same, and I asked her that the question of do she want to sit down because I get up, all the same, make room and respect the social distancing, clause for the present existence of the global community that we're living in. Whereas at one time or another, I would call it the corona faggot virus or the COVID-19 homo global pandemic, but I don't want to be sounding off former ex twice impeached and twice, but then nevertheless yet twice acquitted. Former ex-president of the USA, where he was calling the coronavirus the corona Chinese virus before he had, re-nicknamed it something else, though it would be quite offensive in his own right, but it's not as offensive as what he himself had originally nicknamed it, whereas now, or since last I heard, he was calling it the Corona China virus. But anyway, though, getting back to the other that I was trying to speak upon, and as I think of it with my intention to backtrack here to do just that, as I had said, stated for the record. So I'm asking this one, sister of a woman, does she want to sit down? Sister, she's not related to me. That's what black person call themselves, a black person would call a black woman a sister, or a black person would call a black man a brother. I don't know where they get that from, calling where we get. I can say both ways, as it's supposed to be mixed, but I don't know where black people get that from, calling one another brothers and sisters. I don't know. It may have something to do with having been brought to the new world on these slave ships, and whereas we lost ties with, our blood lineage, our different members of our different family trees being separated from one another as we have been brought over on these different slave ships, and the white Europeans and the white Americans for that historical time has separated us from relatives to be sold off on slave auction blocks and so forth. But anyway, getting back to some and such other. So I'm asking this one sister, a black woman, if she wants to sit down. And she said, nah, I'm all right. And so this other Woodlands left feeling nigga S.o.b bastard, this one black brother, otherwise black male, he shows up. And he's one that I'm familiar with that be attending soup kitchens and food pantries himself, like this other, gorilla, ape, or baboon, black baboon that I had described to y'all. So we get the mouth off cuss words to me, let that woman sit down, motherfucker. I'm like, man, why you coming to me like that, man? You don't know me like that, right? This character, whereas I see him in a soup kitchen on quite a regular basis, this one particular soup kitchen, I moonlight as a food panda. I guess he take it then because I'm more like no, not like a derelict transit, but I'm more like a patron of some such that one particular. Like he could talk to me any kind of way he wanted to talk to me. So I called him on his F and BS, and he had anything to say. Because I was like, man, why don't you just shut the F up, man? You can't say anything good to me. Don't say a damn thing to me at all, Remind me of some of these black gorilla apes or baboons at this one self-help recovery meet. That is one of many that tries to combat the issue of alcohol addiction, Then you got one for drug, you got one of many for drug addiction, some sort of meetings otherwise of another sort of type, And whereas at one time or another I'm attending some or such, and sometimes I stop off at this one church that be like, having a clothing giveaway, and I pick up something from there before I go to the self-help recovery meeting just a few blocks from it, within the same vicinity area neighborhood community, Yeah. Until I would have, because I'm wearing odds and ends, because a management personnel for these premises properties, a building complex, she was supposed to be helping me put money on my laundry card as it would be transferred from my debit card, and where she's supposed to be helping me do that with my cellular phone and hers. And turn out like all of a sudden the money it disappears, and I'm wondering if she ran game on me, and whereas now I cannot wash my clothing in the building for the building laundromat. I have to go outside the building and wash it elsewhere for a neighborhood laundromat otherwise, Okay. So anyway, getting back to some of such other. So I'm picking up quite a few clothing item products from this one church that has a free clothing giveaway upon this premium product. They won't be like giving away clothing, anymore for this year, except for October. And then they're gonna close shop and open back up next year. That's why I was informed. But anyway, though, so I'm picking up clothing from there, and I go to this one self-help recovery meeting. And these cocksuckers, these black baboons, black gorilla apes, these black baboons, instead of getting up out their damn seats and let me sit down in a available seating plan arrangement next to the door, and then where they could have moved themselves to the other seating plan arrangement that was available, further from the door for the entrance and exit way for the building where the self-help recovery meeting was being held, self-help recovery program meeting was being held. It just kept sitting there. I'm loaded down with at least a couple, not a few bags of clothing. I'm like, son of a, I'm like, where's the recovery in that? You're not gonna get up and let me sit down as a fellow self-help recovery buddy, before I get on elsewhere. So I just left shortly. I said, within the same few minutes, because I'm like saying I'm not gonna be standing up. No, I'm tired as damn hell. I got this pain in my physical body. I said, to hell with that. I pulled up from camp and got on elsewhere. Back to much more familiar territory, back to my own vicinity area neighborhood community, so I can drop these things off, these item products of clothing in my own pad, as in for my own atmosphere of a place of residence for its premises properties. I'm not saying I'm dog tired. I'm not gonna be standing for, like, say, for a time frame period from a half an hour to an hour to an hour and a half, and listen to all y'all, or most of all y'all, give y'all input for what time limit you have to speak for that and feel this self-help recovery meeting. I can't sit down. I'm feeling pain in my physical body and I got these clothing. I said, to damn hell with that. Yeah, like I said before, so I said, where's the recovery in that? But anyway, you are. I'm gonna close shop shortly after, because I gotta get to this one, eat spot of a vicinity area neighborhood community soup kitchen that moonlights as a food pantry. Some such that is of a different neighborhood, not too far from the one I live in. Yeah. So I say, as a resident or tenant of this building, where I'm presently at, and to get on elsewhere shortly. But as I would give the basic introduction, I would, from there speak upon a subject matter, topic of discussion, with the many different views and opinions to be associated with some and such, or that of giving an argument to be debated with the pros and cons thereof. And then, last but not least, I would give the closing, as I would usually do. Likewise, well, all the same. And by saying, even if I have to force myself to say it, come naturally for me to say just that, and that is by saying, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think to do so now, while the blood is still running warm in your veins, by recognizing and realizing what He Himself had done or did upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha, suffering at the hands of some such Roman soldiers upon the orders of their superiors, religion and otherwise, Pharisees and Sadducees, etc., Centurions and Caesars. But then there less words, He went to that cross of Calvary to become the perfect sacrifice, the only sacrifice for you as well as for me. So if anyone was being a whatsoever raising whatever walks of life, faction of society, lifestyle preferences, being an old and young alike of both two sexual gender, males and females, represent not only the human species, but then nevertheless the global community within this post 911 era of a new millennium apocalyptic day and age, and where the doomsday clock is now at a couple few minutes of midnight compared on our former period prior to then with a quarter midnight for these rather biblically prophetic times. Were to profess some of such faith in Him, from there we become or be blessed in one regard or another, in more ways than one. First and foremost, with His salvation being of which is the only means by which any of us can or could possibly hope to enter into the kingdom of heaven once we were to make that transition for the great beyond of the hereafter afterlife. Then, second of all, where we were blessed with His salvation, that would be blessed. Right, what I meant to say, principally continue regular mind compared to principally. Let's think of it with that in my mind. Tend to try back check here with reason purpose of being, and I was like going to follow to continue from where we ended up. My person at the ass level, so I can finish up as in complete form pre prior 9,000. And in that sense, His word. And second of all, where we be blessed with His deliverance while we're still here upon the planet Earth. But first we have got to get His salvation, being of not just the much more important, but of the most important blessing, being of some of such of a nature that is spiritual. Otherwise, you have nothing coming and due regard in reference to blessings. And whereas if you were to leave this world without His blood sacrificed upon Him within your soul, your immortal human soul, then your final destination would be the lake of fire, damn hell, with the rest of the lost, damned, unsaved human souls who will be tortured and terrorized by the devil and his demons forever, compared to how we, as believing God, as in Christians, aka Protestants, would be across that great divide that separates heaven from hell, in the company of like-minded believers in that same sense of the word, and in the presence of God and His angels, otherwise, as citizens of the kingdom of heaven. Like MasterCard, don't leave home without it. Then the salvation of our Lord and Savior Christ, Messiah delivered, the Rabbi of rabbis, don't leave home without His blood sacrifice of an insurance policy for your immortal human souls elsewhere. And people in damn hell do want ice water, you know. You hear what I'm saying? Well, I hope you all have gotten something out of what I was saying, especially part in regard to Christ's salvation. I'll holler at you all later. We out. Peace.